English is the gateway to the world. It's not just a language, but a tool that can change your life. By learning English, you open doors to endless opportunities, whether it's advancing your career, connecting with people globally, or accessing a wealth of knowledge. Each new word you learn is a step closer to your dreams, giving you the power to express yourself, overcome challenges, and make a difference in the world. With English, you hold the key to a brighter, more connected future. Today I'll tell you how to improve your spoken English. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there was a young man named Rovi. Rovi was a bright and curious soul, always eager to learn new things. But there was one challenge he had always struggled with: speaking English. Rovi had learned English in school, but whenever he tried to speak, he felt nervous and unsure of himself. The words would get stuck in his throat, and he worried about making mistakes. He knew that speaking English was important, especially if he wanted to pursue his dreams of studying abroad and traveling the world. But how could he improve? One day, while working in the fields, Rovi overheard a conversation between two travelers passing through his village. They were speaking in English, and Rovi listened intently. He noticed something interesting. They weren't speaking perfectly. They made mistakes, but they laughed it off and continued their conversation with confidence. This realization sparked something in Rovi. That evening, Rovi sat down with his grandfather, who was a wise old man with a deep understanding of the world. Rovi explained his struggles and asked for advice. His grandfather smiled warmly and said, "Rovi, speaking a language is like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it feels wobbly and difficult, but with practice, you gain balance and confidence. Let me tell you a story that might help." And so, his grandfather began the story of Aditi and her journey to speaking English. Aditi was a young woman who lived in a similar village many years ago. Like Rovi, she was determined to learn English, but she faced the same difficulties. She would freeze up whenever she tried to speak, fearing that others would judge her. One day, Aditi met an old school teacher named Mr. Sharma, who had retired but still had a passion for teaching. Aditi approached him and expressed her desire to speak English fluently. Mr. Sharma agreed to help her, and he began by giving her some simple but powerful advice. 1. Start small. Mr. Sharma told Aditi that she didn't need to dive into complex sentences right away. Instead, she should start with simple greetings and basic phrases. He encouraged her to say hello, good morning, and how are you to people she met every day. This helped her become comfortable with the sound of English in her mouth. 2. Think in English. One of the biggest challenges Aditi faced was translating her thoughts from her native language to English. Mr. Sharma advised her to start thinking in English, even if it was just in simple sentences. For example, if she was hungry, she would think, "I am hungry," instead of thinking in her native language first. This helped her get used to forming sentences in English. 3. Practice with a mirror. Mr. Sharma suggested that Aditi practice speaking in front of a mirror. This allowed her to see her expressions and become more aware of her body language. She would pretend to have conversations with herself, practicing different scenarios. This not only improved her speaking skills, but also boosted her confidence. 4. Read aloud. Aditi began reading simple English books and newspapers aloud. Mr. Sharma explained that reading aloud helped her get used to the rhythm and pronunciation of English. It also allowed her to practice speaking without the pressure of conversation. 5. Learn to listen. Mr. Sharma emphasized the importance of listening. Aditi started listening to English songs, radio programs, and conversations between English speakers. She didn't always understand every word, but she paid attention to the tone, intonation, and rhythm of the language. Over time, her ear became attuned to English, making it easier for her to speak. 6. Find a speaking partner. As Aditi grew more confident, Mr. Sharma encouraged her to find a speaking partner. She found a friend who was also learning English, and they would meet regularly to practice. They made a pact to speak only in English during their conversations. This not only improved her fluency, but also made the learning process fun and engaging. 7. Embrace mistakes. Aditi often hesitated to speak because she feared making mistakes. But Mr. Sharma reassured her that making mistakes was a natural part of learning. He told her that even native speakers make mistakes, and that it was more important to communicate than to be perfect. This mindset shift helped Aditi speak more freely without worrying too much about errors. 8. Set daily goals. Mr. Sharma advised Aditi to set small, achievable goals each day. Some days, her goal was to learn 5 new words. Other days, it was to have a conversation with a stranger. These small goals added up over time, and Aditi could see her progress, which motivated her to keep going. 9. Surround yourself with English. Aditi made an effort to immerse herself in English as much as possible. She labeled objects around her house with their English names, watched English movies, and even tried to dream in English. The more she surrounded herself with the language, the more natural it became. 10. Be patient and persistent. Mr. Sharma reminded Aditi that learning a language takes time. There would be days when she felt frustrated or discouraged, but he encouraged her to be patient with herself. He told her that persistence was the key to success, and that every little effort she made would bring her closer to her goal. As the months passed, Aditi's confidence grew. She started having simple conversations with people in her village, then more complex ones. She made friends with English-speaking travelers and even helped translate for them. Her journey was not always smooth. There were times when she stumbled over words or misunderstood something, but she never gave up. By the time a year had passed, Aditi was speaking English fluently. She could express her thoughts, share her ideas, and even tell jokes in English. She had transformed from a shy, hesitant speaker into a confident, articulate communicator. When Ravi's grandfather finished a story, he looked at Ravi and said, "Remember, Ravi, there's no shortcut to learning a language. It's about practice, patience, and persistence. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't be in a hurry. Take it one step at a time, just like Aditi did, and you'll find that speaking English will become easier and more natural with each passing day. Inspired by his grandfather's words, Ravi began his own journey of learning to speak English. He started small, practicing simple phrases, and gradually built up his confidence. He found a speaking partner, read aloud, and embraced his mistakes as part of the learning process. With time and effort, Ravi became a fluent English speaker, ready to take on the world. And just like Aditi, Ravi learned that the key to mastering any language is not just in the words you say, but in the courage to speak them, no matter how imperfectly at first. Ravi's journey to mastering English was a winding road filled with moments of doubt, frustration, and occasional triumphs. Yet, it was a journey that taught him much more than just how to speak a new language. It taught him resilience, self-belief, and the value of perseverance. Finding inspiration in everyday life. Ravi realized early on that he needed to find inspiration in his daily life to keep his motivation alive. Learning a language is not just about grammar rules and vocabulary. It's about immersing yourself in the culture and experiences associated with that language. One day, while walking through the village, Ravi heard a group of children playing and laughing. They were speaking in a mix of their native language and English. Ravi paused to listen. The children were fearless. They switched between languages effortlessly, without worrying about making mistakes. This observation struck Ravi deeply. Children learn languages naturally because they're unafraid of errors. They focus on communication and play. Inspired by this, Ravi began to approach English with the same playful curiosity. He started to view each conversation as a chance to explore and connect, rather than a test to pass or fail. This shift in mindset was crucial. It allowed him to let go of the fear that had been holding him back, creating a language-rich environment. Ravi understood that to truly master English, he needed to create an environment that constantly exposed him to the language. He began with small changes. He switched the language settings on his phone and other devices to English. He filled his home with English labels, so every time he reached for something, he'd be reminded of its English name. Every morning, Ravi started his day by describing his plans in English. Today, I will go to the market. I need to buy vegetables. Later, I will visit my friend. This habit helped him practice forming sentences in English and made him more comfortable thinking in the language. Developing a routine. Consistency was key to Ravi's progress. He developed a daily routine that incorporated different aspects of language learning. Morning practice. Each morning, Ravi would spend 10 minutes reading aloud from a simple English book or newspaper. This practice helped him with pronunciation and fluency. Daily journal. At the end of each day, Ravi wrote a short diary entry in English. It was just a few sentences about what he did that day, but it forced him to recall vocabulary and practice sentence structure. Conversation time. Ravi set aside time every day to talk to someone in English. Sometimes it was his speaking partner. Other times it was a shopkeeper or a neighbor. These real-life conversations were invaluable in building his confidence. Listening and speaking practice. Ravi listened to English songs and tried to sing along. He also listened to the news in English while cooking or doing chores. Mimicking the sounds and intonations he heard helped him improve his own speech. Review and reflect. Once a week, Ravi would review what he had learned, focusing on areas where he struggled. He made a list of new words, phrases, or grammatical structures he wanted to master. This routine became a part of Ravi's life. It was demanding at times, but he reminded himself that every minute spent learning was a step closer to his goal. Connecting with others. Ravi knew that language is a tool for connection, and he actively sought out opportunities to interact with others in English. He joined a local group where people practiced English together. The group met once a week, and they would discuss various topics, from current events to personal stories. These group sessions were particularly valuable because they offered diverse perspectives and the chance to hear different accents and speaking styles. Ravi learned not only from his own practice, but also from listening to others. He picked up new expressions, learned how to structure his thoughts more clearly, and even began to develop his own unique way of expressing himself in English. Overcoming plateaus. As Ravi's skills improved, he inevitably hit plateaus where progress seemed to slow down. These were challenging times when he felt like he wasn't getting any better, despite all his efforts. But Ravi had learned an important lesson. Plateaus are a natural part of any learning journey. When these moments came, Ravi didn't give up. Instead, he adjusted his approach. He challenged himself with more difficult material, like reading books that were slightly above his comfort level or engaging in conversations on complex topics. He also practiced speaking for longer periods without pausing, pushing himself to maintain fluency even when he felt uncertain. Ravi's grandfather had once told him, "When you hit a wall, it's not a sign to stop, it's a sign to climb higher." Ravi took this advice to heart and used it as motivation during the tough times. Building a strong vocabulary. Ravi understood that vocabulary was the foundation of any language. Without words, communication is impossible. He made it a priority to expand his vocabulary every day. But rather than just memorizing lists of words, Ravi learned them in context. Whenever he came across a new word, he didn't just write it down. He wrote a sentence using that word. He practiced saying it out loud, finding synonyms, and understanding its nuances. For example, if he learned the word happy, he also learned related words like joyful, content, and cheerful. This not only helped him remember the words, but also allowed him to express himself more precisely. Ravi also kept a vocabulary notebook where he jotted down new words and phrases he encountered. Every week, he reviewed this notebook and tried to use the new words in his daily conversations and writing. This practice helped reinforce what he had learned and ensured that these new words became a permanent part of his English toolkit. The power of stories. One day, while visiting his grandfather, Ravi discovered an old English novel on the bookshelf. It was a classic story filled with adventure, emotion, and rich language. Ravi decided to read it, even though it was challenging. Reading the novel was a transformative experience for Ravi. As he followed the characters' journeys, he realized that stories are a powerful way to learn a language. The emotions, dialogues, and descriptions in the novel brought the language to life in a way that no textbook could. He learned not just words, but also how to express complex ideas, how to build suspense, and how to convey feelings. This realization led Ravi to explore more stories, both in books and through conversations. He started sharing his own stories in English, whether it was a funny incident from his day or a childhood memory. Storytelling became a crucial part of his language learning, helping him connect with others and practice his speaking skills in a natural, engaging way. Staying motivated through challenges. Ravi's journey was not without its challenges. There were days when he felt overwhelmed by the complexity of the language, when his confidence wavered, or when he simply didn't feel like practicing. But Ravi had learned the importance of motivation. He found motivation in his goals. Ravi reminded himself why he was learning English: to pursue his dreams, to connect with people from around the world, and to open up new opportunities in life. He kept a list of these reasons and looked at it whenever he felt discouraged. Ravi also found motivation in his progress. He celebrated every small victory, whether it was successfully having a conversation with a stranger or understanding a difficult passage in a book. These moments of success kept him going, reminding him that his efforts were paying off. Finally, Ravi stayed motivated by staying positive. He learned to be kind to himself, understanding that mistakes were part of the process. Instead of getting frustrated when he struggled, he saw it as a sign that he was pushing his boundaries and learning something new. The reward of persistence. As months turned into years, Ravi's persistence paid off. He became known in his village as the young man who had mastered English. He was able to help others in the village who were also trying to learn, offering advice and encouragement just as his grandfather had done for him. Ravi's journey also opened up new opportunities. He was able to apply for scholarships to study abroad, and when he traveled to new countries, he could communicate easily with people from different backgrounds. English had become more than just a language to him. It was a bridge to new experiences, friendships, and a broader understanding of the world. Ravi's story is a testament to the power of persistence, practice, and a positive mindset. Learning to speak English fluently is not an easy task, but it is one that is within reach for anyone who is willing to put in the effort. Ravi's journey shows that with the right attitude and strategies, anyone can overcome their fears and achieve their goals. A final word of motivation. To anyone embarking on the journey to learn English, remember this: your journey is unique, and it will be filled with ups and downs. But every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Don't be discouraged by mistakes. They are proof that you are learning. Don't rush the process. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Surround yourself with the language, practice every day, and find joy in the small victories. Whether it's successfully ordering a meal in English, understanding a new word, or holding a conversation with a stranger, these moments are worth celebrating. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You have the ability to learn and grow. Like Ravi, you can master English, and in doing so, open doors to a world of new possibilities. Your journey may be challenging, but it will also be rewarding beyond measure. Keep going, stay motivated, and trust that your hard work will lead you to success.